Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. That was my impression of Spider-Man. There's Wonder Woman, there's all sorts of superheroes in the world. And we often ask that fun question, if you had a superpower, what superpower would you love to have? And one of the questions I always ask people in my study of excellence, and particularly my study of excellence in business, when I meet CEOs, business owners, venture capitalists, bank managers, people who are involved in successful business, I always ask, is there a superpower for business? And it comes in lots of different forms, the answer, but I always hear this. There's lots of things I hear, but I always hear this. Your ability to remain cool, calm, and collected under pressure. You don't panic when you're stressed. You don't stress. You can remain positive and find a solution. Optimism, solution finding, positivity. The reverse of that, and of course all of that makes sense, if you're in a position of people trust you to handle a situation, so you're the CEO of a business, you manage a sporting team, you're the producer of a movie, you've got a position of responsibility. If you lose your cool, if you get stressed, if you panic, how can any of that be part of any solution? And have you ever been in a situation, and I love these people, there's two parts to this. One is I love people with a sense of humour and people who don't panic. And when you combine the two of those together, it seems to be a very powerful undertone to make a situation so much better. So it doesn't matter what's going on. So bushfire, flood, global financial crisis, worldwide medical pandemic, stressful situation in the business, sales aren't working, computers are broken down, family relationships not working, there's a whole heap of crappy stuff that happens in the world, I get that. But isn't it nice when you're in any of those situations and you are with somebody who has a sense of humour about it and they are an optimistic solution finder rather than somebody that panics? Now, if you have a look at, if you've lived in 2020, 21, 22, 23, it's interesting to watch what the governments do, what the leaders of the world do in a panic situation. And it's been suggested by lots of different psychologists, psychiatrists and neuroscientists that we might have had some major challenges in the world during those years because the leaders of the world weren't quite sure how to handle a tough situation. They panicked. They didn't remain cool and calm. They made some rash decisions, which then affected a lot of people. Now, that's none of my business. I can't control what other people do, and I certainly can't control what government people do or politicians do. But if you are cool under pressure, if you can remain calm when everybody else is flustered or panicking, if you understand that panic is never part of the solution, and the reason for that is pure physiology, yeah? If my brain is panicking, so there's three parts to fight and flight. If I'm under stress, my body goes into fight and flight mode, which is one, I run away, probably not good for a leader. I turn and fight and I handle the situation, or I freeze, I panic, I can't do anything. Well, the flight doesn't work for leadership and the panicking obviously doesn't work for leadership. The only choice you've got is to turn and fight, to overcome the challenge, to come out of it at the other end better than when you went in. And that's the really cool thing about the top leaders in the world, the best sports people in the world, and I'm talking about the sports people in a team, for example, that when they're losing by multiple points or things aren't going their way, they remain cool and calm. There's a few sports people like that where they can be relied on in a pressure situation. There are business people that can be relied on in a pressure situation. People turn to them when things have gone to crap because they know that that person doesn't panic, they handle stress really well, they don't let the neurotransmitters that make you freeze, where you panic and you can't think clearly, that means you cannot go forward because your brain is completely shut down. If you have brain-derived neurotropic factor in your brain, which is fertilizer for your brain, which comes from the fight and flight system, a huge rush of adrenaline, epinephrine, cortisol, so your body's in the fight and flight mode. But if you handle that situation or you remain calm, you go and sprint, punch the bag, get your body de-stressed. Now you can think more clearly because after this, when you've got stress and then you de-stress, now your brain fills up with dopamine, reward drug, serotonin, satisfaction neurotransmitter, and brain-derived neurotropic factor, fertilizer for your brain. So now you have the ability to think clearly, which is why there's now a lot of push for CEOs of companies, for owners of companies, for people in positions of responsibility to be really fit and really strong. And that's probably a challenge I'll throw out there. If you are in a position of responsibility, if you're a parent, a teacher, a coach, a boss, a leader, a manager, a pastor, and people are relying on you to be cool and calm under pressure, they're relying on you not to panic, it's up to you to provide the solution and be the optimistic solution finder. Do you need to be really fit and strong? Because a weak body and a weak brain, an unfit body and an unfit brain can't handle those situations. So here's a superpower. Could it just simply be to be fit and strong? Because if you're really fit and if you're really strong, you've got a strong brain, you're mentally tough, when a big horrible challenge comes in your path, not only do you not only can you handle it, but you actually get excited about it. So it's not really a challenge, and that's probably the different headspace. So tough stuff happens. We've had a flood, we've had a bushfire, we've had a drought, we've had a bad financial situation, we've had a global financial crisis, we've had a worldwide medical pandemic, we've had a terrible situation, an accident, something terrible has happened. I can remain cool and calm and come up with a solution if I've got a fit, strong body. Isn't that exciting? So this thing about let's exercise because we get ripped abdominals and tight butt cheeks and we look good is such a tiny part of being fit and strong. And one of the reasons why I'm constantly sharing now that I don't like the word exercise, because people think that exercise is 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 45-minute class or an hour at the gym 3 times a week. That is not anything to do with the phosphate system. That it's got nothing to do with being able to handle stress and pressure, because the stress and pressure comes in the fight and flight system. The phosphate system is where your body goes into full overdrive, 100% effort to either run away, which of course you can't if you're a leader, so you have to turn and fight. You have to fight for your people, fight for your team, fight for your family. You need to be fit and strong to be able to do that. Now, your body will do that automatically, even if you're really unfit and really weak, and a stress happens to your family or a stress might happen to your business, you will automatically go into fight and flight mode, and your brain produces epinephrine and adrenaline. The question is, will you turn and run, or will you want to fight? And most people turn and run, or worse, they freeze. Because that's the third option, isn't it, in that phosphate system. If you don't constantly put your body under pressure and your body's not used to being under pressure, is it possible that you will freeze, you'll panic, you won't be able to do anything? And that's something that as a parent, I imagine, would be very scary. If your kids are under threat and you don't have the ability to look after them because you're frozen, I think that would be scary. I don't have any children, but I certainly have a lot of people who rely on me to be an optimistic solution finder, and my superpower has to be cool, calm, collected, anti-panic, anti-stress, handle the situation. That has to be my superpower because I'm in a leadership role. How about you? So, very personal question. If you are a coach, if you are a parent, if you're a teacher, a boss, a leader, a pastor, and people are relying on you to handle a situation, overcome a challenge, and provide them with a solution, is it your responsibility, is it our responsibility to be fit and strong mentally and physically so that we can handle any situation? Could the superpower simply be that I'm fit and strong, which means I've got a fit and strong brain, which means I can handle anything? Wouldn't that be awesome? So, Romax is here every day to make sure that you are fit and strong, that you have everything that you need, and it's not that complicated, is it? Get puffed to get fit, lift heavy to get strong, and give your body time to recover. It's pretty easy. Force your brain into that overload situation. Force your brain into fight and flight. Force your brain into the phosphate system so that you're really used to it. So if life threatens you, you can overcome the challenge. And the next part of Romax is to have a career or business that you love. If your career or business is under threat, don't you want to have the physical and mental ability to be able to turn and fight and protect it? Wouldn't that be awesome? If your finances are under threat or something happens, the global financial crisis was a classic for that, or high inflation or high interest rates, or the government's done something stupid with our money. We need to be solution finders in that situation. And how do you do that if your brain's not working well? So Romax is healthy, fit and strong, career or business that you love, financially free, and beautiful relationships. And those 4 things, the last one probably the most important. How can you have great relationships with great people? How can you attract great people into your life? And when I say great people, other people who are kind and respectful and can handle terrible situations, people with a great sense of humour, and people who are cool and calm under pressure. How will you attract those people into your life if you're a panicker? Is it possible that even your team, your kids, the people around you who need you to be strong and need you to be able to handle the situation, need you to be the optimistic solution finder? If you're not, is it possible that they will have less respect for you? And that's probably the really confrontational question. How can we be respected if we panic under stress? How can people respect us as a leader if we lose our cool? I would love you to be healthy, fit and strong, have a career or business that you love, be financially free and attract great people into your life. And how can we do any of that if we can't handle stress and pressure? So may you have the superpower so that you can sing na 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 na. Cool, come